Yes, you're still onto the economy today, and today we want to look at agriculture. And looking at agriculture, we're looking at the development level of agriculture in Nigeria. And today, speaking on Skype with me right now to discuss this is a dean of the Faculty of Agriculture in Abuja. He's an agricultural expert and also a lecturer, Dr. Akeem Oyerinde. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir. So now let us first of all, the take here is that let us look at the state of agriculture at present with Nigeria. You know, agriculture in some past by was the major income earner for the Nigerian economy, and also one of the highest in the GDP. In fact, the highest in GDP at that time. But at some point went by, it all just slid down, down the drain. Then there are so many challenges we can actually pinpoint to. But I want you to please tell the viewers out there the state of agriculture in the country.
Okay, George. Let me add to the introduction that you have done. I'm Professor Akeem Oyerinde, and the Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Abuja. So let me now go to your question. The fact remains that Nigeria is an agrarian society, and from time immemorial, before the advent of the oil, we call it oil boom, but to experts like us, we call it oil boom because that was what in the trajectory of what happened to our agriculture. The Nigerian economy was basically run pre-independent, and the early times of independence up to 1972-73, when the oil was gotten in the south around 1972-73, and exploration started. But before then, it is the money from agriculture that is the major thing that determines what we have in our economy. But when the oil came up, Nigerians became lazy men and women, and we now started going for the oil economy and following crude oil sales to the world. But notwithstanding, we are not doing badly as well. The GDP, the second to oil in GDP contribution, as at the last count, is still agriculture, which means that what we just need is for agriculture to come back and revamp back to a status of being contributing to up to 60% of our GDP. So that's where to go. As at the last count, is contributing close to about between 23 and 25% to the GDP. And but that's not where we want it to be. And that's not what we expected of an economy. I was speaking with somebody in the meeting that I just left, that Nigeria have 1/3 of agro land. That's the land that can be tilled for cropping in Africa. So 1/3 of that, we will have it in Nigeria. And by record, we've not even been able to cultivate up to 40% of that land. So last 2 months, by September, I was in Chachun in Jilin province in China. You will see that they don't even have land, and they can only crop for about 6 months. And out of that, they are the leading production of agricultural commodity in China, as big as China is. But here, we are so fortunate, there's no part of Nigeria that you cannot plant. There's no part. Up to the dry land in Sokoto, in Maiduguri. And like what I discussed with my friend there, I said, look at it. We have rivers, we have water. That what we are still doing, what you are still discussing, like you are discussing with me, you are still discussing only the green economy. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, out of the concept that about a year ago that I sold for the Nepal, the AUDA Nepal, that's African Union Group, that Africa, we have so much neglected the blue economy. What is the blue economy? That's what we have. We have more water than the land for cultivation. We have rivers all over. We have the Atlantic Ocean with us. What are we doing with that? Within that phase, we can do our fishery, aquaculture, and a host of other things, so that we can develop that, and with that, we'll be able to reform the economy of the country. As a president, we are still doing monolithic economy, where what we expect and what we are waiting to run our budget is only oil. Whereas the agricultural resources we have in Nigeria, starting from the crop up to the issue of the plants, up to the plant, the bio resources in this country is so enormous. And that's why you see everybody in the world trooping into Nigeria. The Olam of Ethiopia as an Indian company, Christian Campina Wanko of Netherlands, and most of them can keep on mentioning their name. Because they know the first advantage we have is that we have over 220 million people to feed. So the largest economy, the largest market in Africa is Nigeria. So there's no gains in further. So we have the best experts as regards any field, whether agriculture, whether medicine, any field of study. We have the best material within in terms of human capacity, that's human resources. We have adequate and we have enough. Like some time ago, I was on set with some of our previous Minister of Agriculture, and I let them know that people claim that we don't have land to cultivate in this country. And I said, go to our university, our polytechnic, college of education, research institution, and also other. You see virgin land that nobody is cultivating. So it means that we have to go to the concept of engaging in agripreneurship, agricultural entrepreneurship, and see agriculture as a business instead of thinking of no young child will take the laborious way of cutlass and go as agriculture. Agriculture is different from farming. Farming is when you use cutlass and hoe, and you are doing rudimentary subsistence farming. But when you talk about agriculture, you are talking about the value chain development of agriculture. So what we have neglected is that most of us, nearly all of us, neglected the precious stone that we use to build the house. The life of Cocoa House, the life of all our refineries was built based on the return from cocoa, the return from cassava, the return from palm oil, the return from rubber, the return from cola nut, the return from up there in the north, all the grains. Some time ago, we have granite iron sometime in this country. Those money were used to build most of the universities that are there. But when we now became the country as a country, we become a lazy man. That we are now looking for white collar job, looking for money that is not available anywhere in the world. That's why we find ourselves in this shambles. We find ourselves in this great problem. But you know, in the Yoruba land, they believe that you will learn after suffering. Now the economy is taking every one of us back to farming, because compulsorily there's projection that Nigeria will be the third largest country in the world in terms of population by 2050.
Hello, doctor. I think you are actually giving us a lecture here, but I'll go for a very short break now. When I'm back, we are going to be discussing a little more into some of the government policies that has been, hampering agriculture, and also some of their developmental policies also, and some of the indices that are actually affecting agriculture. So we'll go for a very short break now. I'll be right back to discuss more with Dr. Akeem. Welcome back. You are still onto the economy today, and I am discussing with Dr. Akeem far away in Abuja on Skype on the agricultural development in Nigeria. So, Dr. Akeem, you spoke about the state of the agriculture in Nigeria, why it's what happened when it was booming, and all of a sudden the oil came in, and before you know it, everything just went down the drain. So one of the things I deduce from here is policy, federal government policies, and also some of the challenges affecting. So let us look at the federal government policies. There was one time the anchor borrowers came out, and I'm sure it is still on, but a lot of people or a lot of farmers are not able to access funds or finances from that angle. And then we have the challenges of insecurity, and also the small-scale farmers are not getting the benefit of agriculture in the country. So how do you relate to all this, sir?
You know, Nigeria is one of the countries that have the best policy as regards agriculture, starting from the post-independent, the Operation Feed the Nation, up to the latest one, the green alternative. That's the last one by the Ministry of Agri, that is talking about how to integrate mechanization into agriculture. I think policy is not our problem. Our major problem is implementation and evaluation of the policy.
Yes.
Fortunately, you spoke about something that is so close to everybody. The latest one is called NATI. So, but the major problem we have is that we have very good economic agricultural policy. There are countries like Ghana and a host of other nations in neighbor copy from us, and they execute it well. For example, let me give you the example of NISA. NISA is an offshoot of CBN that they handle the anchor borrowers program you are talking about. The NISA, what happened that time was that Ghana came here and they now established their JASA for the same purpose, for farmers to have access and de-risk the investment of farmers. So that, the major problem with our farming population is the issue of funds. So, but when they get funds, they don't have collateral to take loan from the bank. So, the NISA stand in as a guarantor between the farmer and the source of the fund.
Sorry, doctor. Can I cut in there, sir? Yes, you mentioned, NISA and Anchor Borrower and the rest of them, and that is meant for the funding of agriculture, especially to the small-scale farmers, which we have many of them in the country. In fact, they are the largest compared to the large-scale farmers. But again, you also mentioned that a lot of them don't have collaterals to collect these loans. But with what you have said, that NISA is supposed to stand in for them as collateral, that is not happening because a lot of them are not getting these funds. I have been able to interview one or two of them, and they really will say they are not getting any fund. They have applied for these funds and they are not getting these funds. So what seems to be the challenge? You also mentioned the policies. Yes, we have great policies from the Operation Feed the Nation till what we have right now. But there's the issue of a policy somersault and also not being able to implement them. So I want you to really look deep into these things and tell us something in there.
You know, the basic thing is some people get the NISA fund, but they see the money as being like, yes, that's government in political palace that they are just giving them back money to solve the political problem for the government. So it's not that people don't get the money. I can confirm that. And NISA established, what do we call it, microfinance bank, apart from the Anchor Borrowers program. The microfinance bank is very close to people. I have friends, I have people that access that money. But the major problem is that people did not pay back. The Anchor Borrower program is not only organized by NISA, there is one organized by the Ministry of Agriculture as well. So,
Okay.
but the major problem that Nigerians have is that they thought government is just dashing them. So they did not return, they did not pay back those loans. So that's why I'm saying monitoring and evaluation of the project is missing, is a missing gap. Now, as at last week thereof, the government, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, launched the agricultural fund. That's the latest now, where they have agricultural fund, and they now have either a DG, a CEO that will coordinate agricultural fund, so that fund will be available for the farmer. But the sincerity of purpose, if we have people in agri fund, are they people that know the peculiarity of the problem of our farmer? Are they people that are close to the farmer? Because you have to know the problem you are solving.
So how do they ascertain who actually knows the challenges of the farmers, and how to approach them, and who is actually the farmer?
The farming community now, we know that we are still running small-scale agricultural farms. Most of our agricultural commodity come from the small-scale farm. The ADP, when the ADP was functioning well, that's the extension unit, the agricultural development project, is all over Nigeria, in all the nooks and crannies of the country, or nooks and corners of the country. So the ADP itself has the record and the data of the actual farmer, not portfolio farmer. Most of these funds that we are talking about is politicians, portfolio farmer that goes to the minister, that go access that money and will not use the money for farming. But actually, the collapse of our extension services is one of the bane that does not allow us to get who are the actors on the value chain of all our agricultural commodities. But the way to go is to, one, the first thing is that we must have a national data of who are the actors on the agricultural value chain. The value chain starts from input provider, production, processing, storage, marketing. That's a complete agricultural value chain. Not compulsory that you are now talking about everybody must go and farm. No, you can choose to just create a warehouse where people can store their commodity. You are within the value chain. You can claim that you just want to be a marketer, that you can market online, that you can link, you start as linkages between the farmer and his market. So with that, you will be able to, some will take to just adding value to the commodity. When they add value to the commodity, our farmers are getting a huge loss now. Because of what? Because they sell at the farm gate. They even sell to, what do you call it, middlemen. So with that, you will not capitalize, you will not have enough return on investment if you are doing that. But if some farmers have people that, the anchor that pick the commodity and will now go and store and add value to it, the farmer will not sell, when there is glutton in the market. For example, when you have production of all our agricultural commodity, there is always glutton because everybody produces at the same time. Our farmer cannot sustain producing throughout the year because there's no irrigation facility. So the time they are producing, all of them are producing the same commodity at the same time. So the price will fall in the normal law of demand and supply. So the fact remains that as government does not need to go into the practice of starting to farm. Government can see how they can mop up this commodity that farmers are producing, store and add value. Because anything that you don't add value to, you'll be selling at a ridiculous price because you are fearing that most of the agricultural commodities are perishable. You don't want them to get spoiled, so you will be in a hurry to sell. But if there is peradventure, you will now have those farmers, like when I did one work for Great Green Wall in Action Gate Certification, what we are able to do is to entrench where those farmers can add value to what they are producing. We provide opportunity for them to store for a while, so that the premium of the price of their commodity can increase, not that they are selling at the same time. It we
Hello,
form them into
doctor.
cluster.
Doctor, I'm sorry to cut you there. We're actually way above our time, and I wish this was like for 1 hour or more, because I'm actually finding your discussion quite interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people will find it so interesting. So I want to thank you for coming on Skype to discuss the issues surrounding the development of the Nigerian agricultural sector.